Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be working on a new bench that holds my table saw, which is over there, you can't see it, my miter saw, as well as a workbench with a miter saw that flips up. So I'm gonna be working on that today. So what I did is I started out with a 2x4 and I cut it down to 112.5 inches. I believe these were 10 foot 2x4 by 10s, and I cut it down. Then I did, so it's upside down. So then I marked it out. So this is 10.5 inches for the supports that'll run up and down. And then every sequential will be 15. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 supports. Next thing I did is I cut 8 2x4s. I just got a bunch from Home Depot, and I cut them to 37 inches. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna line them all up, and then I'm gonna screw them all together with some glue too. All right, so I got all the uprights on. So this is the bottom. Okay, this will all be the top. Okay, so this section right here, I don't have any plywood yet, so I'm gonna run to Home Depot and get some plywood. So this is the upper table saw frame, okay? That's that one. And then this is the lower table saw frame, okay? And then I'm also working on this one right here, and this is the table saw upper frame. So my best bet, what I would recommend doing, I'm gonna put plans to all of this. What I would recommend doing is labeling everything, and then that way it all goes together like Legos. Like I labeled this one C15, and then 1 out of 3, that's 2 out of 3, that's 3 out of 3 type of thing. So that's probably the best way to do this. So I'll put a link in the description to the plan, and I'll keep you updated as we go. Okay, so I got 3 pieces. Well, it's technically 1 piece of plywood cut. This is going to be for the top. So the big piece is 3 foot, 3'4" by, this one right here is 3'4" by 4 foot. This one right here is 211.5 by 3.5, or by 3'4". And then that little one is 10.5 by 3'4". So that'll be for the top shelves, which are those. That'll be for the top. That'll be for these, which will go on that. Next, I have to do the bottom, which is this sheet of plywood. So I'm just using a sawhorse right now because my table saw is currently under a bunch of wood. All right, so this big piece, what this is going to do, this piece is going to sit from here down. It should be right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue each individual piece, and then I'm going to just nail it and then put screws in it. All right, so the top of the table frame, so whenever you built it, you did a 1.5 inch back right here. that's going to go on this side where you already framed out. It'll attach to these. I just went ahead and pre-drilled the holes in all of them, and that way it should just line up really easily. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the top. Okay, so I already got the back done. Now I'm going to do this is the table saw top part. Use clamps just to kind of hold it in the right place, just to be safe. All right, so got the top, got the bottom, got this on. So I don't know if this is going to fit my actual table saw because I haven't measured my table saw yet. If it doesn't, all I have to do is move these in or out, or possibly just make new ones. That's something I got to figure out, which I should have done, but hindsight 2020. I'm gonna put another sheet of plywood on top of this. Got to put locks here so that way everything locks into place. There we go. All right, so got the plywood on the top of the rotating part. So I kind of messed up. My table saw is actually 4¼ inches tall. This is only 4 inches. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood and I'm gonna cut it down to size to where everything will be 4 3/4. And then all I gotta do is put 1/2 inch risers underneath my table saw. And that way everything will be at the right level. All right, so here's the locks unlocking. And it just rotates like this. And then, boom, just like so. And then I have lock and lock, like that. I know I used too long a screw, but I put those there just to be safe, for a little bit of extra stability, because the miter saw is heavy and I don't want the wood to bow. Also, whenever I add the 3/4 inch, it'll also help that. I haven't put any plywood on top of this yet because I haven't measured the table saw. But I'm gonna get the plywood and do all that first, and then I'll fix this. All right, so got the saw on, and it rotates to where it's flat. So I had to use longer screws. I'll just have to basically cut those off, and then flip it back up. It's kind of difficult to do with one hand because the saw is heavy. Now working on the table saw. All right, I got the bench done. Everything flips and rotates. Table saw works. It's all level. I'm still gonna organize everything, but yep, table saw's done. I ended up having to move this crossbar because this isn't it's a rigid, and you know I just had to recut some stuff. So basically, what I did is I just recut it, glued everything, made sure that you put a backing and a side on it, and you're good to go. Make sure that the miter saw is anchored really well because it will fall. Again, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. All right, thanks. See you in the next one.